You're watching Rules of the Game with Bill Krugh, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Albert Sporting Goods, American Legion Post 323, All Glaze Equipment Rental, Capabilities, David Wapak Attorney, Eagles 767, FCA, Fowler's TV, Freedom Marketing Strategies, Grand Lake Roofing, Guarneri's Pizzeria, Jackalope Stash, Larry Schaff Auto Sales, Laura Yelton State Farm, MHS Alumni Foundation, Miller Funeral Homes, Minster Bank, Plus One Professional Real Estate, Ryder Rooters, Roots Pub, St. Mary's Foundry, Sean Barnett Electrical, Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Spring Street Storage, TSC, and Varsity Lanes.
Hello and welcome to Rules of the Game with Bill Krugh. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Each week we bring local official Bill Krugh in and we look at some clips from the previous game. Bill, we've got 16 clips from the St. Mary's and Wapak Redskins game on Friday night. We're going to get to that in just a second, but first I thought we might continue where you left off with Joe the other week, talking about some of the hand signals, and maybe the fans would be interested out there on what some of them look like and what they mean. You talked the last week about resetting the clock and some of those, and people can check out those if they want. Let's talk about maybe some of the pre-snap calls that might be made against an offense, like illegal shifting or too many men in the backfield.
Okay, an illegal shift, you'll see the officials come out and with two hands, that will be, now see, that's a live ball, so you leave that go, and they'll do that after the play's over. Or illegal motion, which is just one hand. And then say like too many people in the backfield, which is the same as a false start, which is the same as illegal procedure, but that is considered that's also a live ball foul. The too many men in the backfield is which is you're not allowed to have more than 4 in the backfield. There has to be 4 or less in the backfield, and there is no requirement for how many you have on the line anymore.
Okay.
So it used to be you had to have 7 people on the line of scrimmage. That's no longer. You could have the center and 4 in the backfield, and you're perfectly legal. There is no minimum number of players you have to have. So.
Gotcha. Let's also talk then a little bit about the evolution of the clip. So we've heard people say clip for many years, but now we hear a lot of blocking in the back. I don't really hear clip too much at all. We also hear about a high-low block and things like that. Uh-huh. What's the difference between those?
Okay. The clip is a block in the back, but it's below the waist.
Okay.
Now that's 15 yards. That's a 15-yard penalty. They've reduced that a little bit, and now a block in the back is above the waist, below the neck, and that is only a 10-yard penalty. So they've reduced that a little bit. That it used to be a clip. I used to push in the back used to be a clip, but it's no longer. That's just a block in the back, and they've reduced that from 15 to 10 yards. Now what else was it?
High and low blocks.
Oh, the high and low blocks. You cannot block someone. If I'm blocking you up high, someone can't come and hit you low, and that's a safety issue. If someone is in contact with you, they have to contact you at the same level. So you can't have one pushing someone over the top of someone low, and that's a 15-yard.
Gotcha. We see that a lot with St. Mary's and the wing tees. So
yep.
We do unfortunately see a couple of those calls a year, but so far, knock on wood, haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go through those 16 clips from the game on Friday night, and we'll be back right after this.
You're watching Rules of the Game with Bill Krugh, brought to you by these fine sponsors. Albert Sporting Goods, American Legion Post 323, All Glaze Equipment Rental, Capabilities, David Wapak Attorney, Eagles 767, FCA, Fowler's TV, Freedom Marketing Strategies, Grand Lake Roofing, Guarneri's Pizzeria, Jackalope Stash, Larry Schaff Auto Sales, Laura Yelton State Farm, MHS Alumni Foundation, Miller Funeral Homes, Minster Bank, Plus One Professional Real Estate, Ryder Rooters, Roots Pub, St. Mary's Foundry, Sean Barnett Electrical, Spees Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Spring Street Storage, TSC, and Varsity Lanes.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Bill Krugh. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Thank you to all of our sponsors out there. We want to thank them. We wouldn't be able to bring you these great shows without them. Bill, we're going to jump right in here to this first play. This was a relatively simple false start from St. Mary's, but what was interesting about it was the right tackle it looked to me like just kind of simply adjusting his stance to get back behind to the correct position. But I guess once you've been set, that could still be a false start, right?
Yeah, if he raised his hand off the ground, that can be a false start. That's a false start. The interior line, once they put their hand down, they're set. Now an end, if he puts his hand down, he can raise it and shift. But the offensive line, the interior line can't do that. Once they're down, they're set.
I'm glad we talked a little bit about preset things because this next play, I remember during the game, we're not able to see the exact motion here after it was called, but the official made what I thought was an illegal shift motion with both of his hands, but I didn't see necessarily an illegal shift unless I'm missing something here. There was a call, both sides actually, right at the snap of the ball, both line judges threw their flags, and I believe it was only a 5-yard penalty. So I think it was too many men in the backfield, but I'm not sure. It didn't look like there was any.
If you count them, there would be. Well, this wide out guy, he says he's on the line of scrimmage. You see him put his hand out to the guy. See him there. He's telling him he's on, but is he really on? And if you count, there's 4 others in the backfield. The shift, the quarterback, the tight end, and then a wing back. And then if this wide guy wasn't on the line of scrimmage, then that's 5 in the backfield. And
so that might have been the call there then.
That might have been the call.
Did you see anything else or any other
Let's watch that one more time. Can we watch that one more time? Okay. Is he set? He's set. He's set. No, I don't see anything else. So I think you might be right. I think it might have been 5 in the backfield.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see any motion or shifting that should have caused it. And I didn't see, they did not, I know they did not call a legal procedure. This next play was a pass a run from Wapak, and then a tackle out of bounds from St. Mary's here. You can see after he goes out of bounds, he's tackled. Nothing was called. I just wondered if were we lucky there for St. Mary's?
I think he gave the St. Mary, the defensive player, the benefit of the doubt on this. He's out of bounds, and so I think he gave him the benefit of the doubt and said he was in the process of tackling him right at the sideline, in bounds before they went out of bounds. So I think he gave him the benefit of the doubt.
And you like to see that, especially in a rivalry game.
Oh yeah.
Emotions are a little higher. Both teams are going to be playing. If it's just a kind of a continuation out of bounds.
I think we talked about that in the Salina game too.
Yeah.
There was a play just like this, very similar to that.
You like to see that they're letting them play. This next play was down by the goal line for Wapakoneta. Quarterback starts to get tackled and then just kind of throws it out of bounds. I think some of the St. Mary's fans wanted grounding there, but he was well outside of the tackle box, right? Yeah.
Oh, he's way out of the tackle box, and that's there is in high school. There really is no tackle box. It's a free blocking zone, but to get that, he has to be laterally outside of that, and he's definitely laterally outside of that free blocking zone. So,
and from looking at it, and now with the benefit of slow motion, it didn't look like his knees were down either when he threw it. That was another thing that I wanted to take a look at.
And then the ball has to get back to the line of scrimmage.
And then you and I talked about too, with the St. Mary's player last week. Once you're outside of that, the pocket dissolves then, right? So you can't, even if you get back into it, you still can't, as long as you exited it, you still can't ground the ball anymore.
That free blocking zone, Once the ball is outside of that free blocking zone, it dissolves and it doesn't come back. So, yes, you're right.
Later in the first half then, I thought the St. Mary's running back, I think it was Noah Dixon, might have got away with a little bit of a hitch there in his stance.
Yeah, I see him move, and he just looks like he's trying to get comfortable. It doesn't.
So as long as he doesn't really move forward necessarily, if he's
as long as he doesn't simulate the snap,
Mm-hmm.
if he's rearranging his butt and his, I think he's fine there. I don't think he didn't cause anybody to jump or anything.
Well, nothing was called, so that sounds like a good no call then.
Call, yeah.
This was another, I thought, potential late hit that was not called against St. Mary's. Kind of drove him and then sort of kind of twisted him out of bounds, but it's kind of hard for us. We don't have sound to hear when the whistle blew either.
Right. Well, and when he tossed him, when he swung him, he really didn't throw him to the ground. I mean, he didn't slam him down. Well, he goes down, but it wasn't a slam. It was more of a throw, and I'm okay with no call there also.
This next play was interesting. If you look at the very top of the screen, the line judge that is there, after the ball is snapped, the Wapak coach walks right in front of him. So this was a long play for Wapak. St. Mary's was hoping that it was coming back, but it ended up just being a sideline warning.
Yeah, that's an assistant coach too. That's not their head coach.
No. Does that make a difference?
It could, yeah. You give your head coaches a little bit of more leeway than you do. But actually, even if the head coach does it then, because the play is in process right then, he would have got it too. And so, yeah, the first one's a warning. There's no yardage penalty, and so
the Wapak gets to keep the play. Yeah. But just get a little warning and say, hey, don't do it again, right?
Yeah.
This next play was, I thought, pretty good coverage from St. Mary's. I think Wapak fans wanted maybe a pass interference there, but it just looked like incidental to me.
Yeah, there's
a little bit of a grab there early in the route.
A little bit of a tug.
Yeah, but I guess when it's that early in the route, it's not always going to get noticed. Kind of right there, just a little grab. And that around the 20-yard line.
And if the ball would have been in the air, that could have been a pass interference. And if the ball's not in the air, that would have been a defensive holding. But
Wapak ended up scoring, I think, on the next play or a couple plays later, unfortunately. This was on the extra point then. St. Mary's was called with offsides there. I think Bourne's there on the end, just a little bit of a jump there.
Yeah, I think we've seen that in games past. The same guy's doing it, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's blocked a couple this year, though. So
okay.
It's you like to see him be aggressive, probably, but that's something that other teams are probably noticing and able to get him to jump. Wapak decided just to re-kick it, but in previous games, I think that I think Defiance went for 2 after that. So it was interesting. This next play, I thought maybe there was some face mask here against Wapak on the running back right at the end. What's interesting is, and I wanted to ask you, is if it wasn't face mask, he definitely wrapped his arm around the helmet and tackled him by the helmet. Is that legal?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get his fingers in any opening, in the ear hole, underneath, even underneath. That's all considered a face mask. Any opening of the helmet is still considered a face mask. So, but if you have it across, and you have your hand and you're tackling him with your hand across the face mask, if you're not grabbing it, it's legal game.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's so small here, but right at the end there. This was interesting. Then at the start of the second half, St. Mary's kicked off, and Wapak had a great return. But a lot of St. Mary's people thought maybe the ball had bounced into the end zone or on the goal line down there. When does it count as a touchback? Does the whole ball have to go in? If he's touching the ball and his feet are in the end zone, does that count?
No, his feet can be in the end zone, but the ball, just the nose of the ball has to break the plane of the goal line, just like a touchdown. So if the ball breaks the plane of the end zone, it's a touchback.
Okay.
So his feet can be in the end zone, and he can be leaning out farther, and the ball never reached that plane. then he can continue running. He can continue pick it up there and run like he did.
So as long as he keeps that ball from touching that goal line, he's okay.
Correct.
And that may have been what happened. It was hard to see. We didn't have another good angle here. But if you look at the Rider Nation Station broadcast, there was. Looking again then, this is a holding call on St. Mary's. Kind of obvious here. I think it was number 73 on the right side, the tackle. If you see that he kind of hooks his guy and then sort of pulls him down in the backfield. So it'll be on the right side.
Right tackle?
Right tackle, I believe. I think a defender gets on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just sort of a tackle there to the ground.
He actually even swung him around, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the point of attack, and that one's going to get got.
It's tough when you get a guy going down like that because you don't want it to look like it. But on that one, I think if your hands get on the outside and you kind of pull him down with you, you're going to get that called every time. This was another potential late hit here. I don't know what it was about this game, but it seems like we had a few of them. So I thought this was interesting. So I say late hit because in high school football, he's laying on the ground with the ball. So technically the play is over. But how much of a cushion do you give to players on when there's a loose ball like that to say, well, that ball could still be moving around, so we're going to let the players jump on the pile?
Well, that's just it. That's up to each official that's right there on the play. Okay, he's considering, well, that ball still could be moving around, and he gave the St. Mary's player a break there, and if that ball pops up, before he blew that whistle, he had to make sure that guy was completely down. So I think that was a good no call there.
So it is highly subjective and just up to the official to say that ball could still be moving around.
That's his call. That's what he's seeing. Yep.
Gotcha. Another false start here on the left tackle. You can see he just kind of fell forward.
Yeah.
Now, if he falls forward and maybe stays down in that position, do they let it go, or are they always going to call that?
No, they're going to call it.
Okay.
That's simulating the snap, and that has to be called.
I'm probably always going to keep asking that from you. But next play here I thought was holding, but wasn't called against Wapak. Number 50, I think he's either the center or one of the interior guards. And so I think you can kind of see him right there.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of rip the guy around, and then he pushes him down, but it looked to me more like a pull. I think it was he might have been a right tackle, and he kind of gets involved there, 50 right there on the ground.
And that one probably should have been called because his arms are wrapped completely around him.
Yeah, he kind of bear hugged him.
Yeah, he bear hugged him. You see that left arm right there is already around him. He's on the outside of the shoulders, and then the right, when he turns, you can see the right arm is too. So, and it's at the point of attack. So that one probably should have been called.
Yeah, if it jumps out at me like that, usually.
I always say if my wife's in the top row reading a book and she looks down and she says that's a hold, then that should have been a hold.
All right. This next play was just towards the end of the game. St. Mary's was passing. I think Wapak tried to say that it hit the ground. This is going to be our last clip here. Are you able to see if his arms were under it?
I can't tell from here.
A little tough to see, I guess. Who's in the position? I mean, can any official out there? Should this umpire right now be looking back to the left?
Absolutely, that's that umpire's job. It would be the wing guy on the top of at the top of the screen, his job, and the back judge. All three of those. So they have a triangle around it, and if any one of those three could call it, even if the referee looks down there and he shouldn't be, he should be protecting that quarterback back there. But if anybody sees that ball hits the ground, they can call it.
Gotcha.
But in this situation right here, there's three guys that their eyes should be right on that thing.
I think if you let it play too, the line judge comes running in and clearly marks it real quick. So I think it was a good call as a catch. It looked. I watched it several times and I didn't see the ball hit the ground. So.
Yeah, Yeah, he come in there pretty quick, so he was pretty sure that it was a catch.
Yeah. Well, Bill, thank you very much for coming again for another week. Hopefully we have some great clips from Rider Nation Station's broadcast on Friday night where the Riders will be playing the OG Titans. That's going to be the Alumni Hall of Fame game. We're really excited for that. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook.